Let's go. People deluded, I'm back again. Good morning. I hope you're all well and safe. I hope you're all in good spirits. I'm not gonna lie, I'm out of breath, people. I ran up the stairs, man. If you think Arsenal's midfielders can't track back, you should see me in the middle of the park. But I'm knackered. But let's go, man. People deluded, I'm back again. I hope you're all well and safe. Good morning, whoever you are, wherever you are. As I always say, it's morning times over here. It's 11:31 a.m. over here in the UK. So it's morning times. Obviously, if you're in Australia or if you're in America, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are. I hope you're all doing well and safe. Today, I like you as well. People, make sure you check out the Deluded podcast. It's on Spotify, Apple, and the rest of it. We talk about Arsenal as well as neutral topics. So I do now. That's actually the case sort of basis for this video, because don't get it twisted, I love to speak about Arsenal, I love to speak about my club, but there's many, football is bigger than my club. I'm a fan of the game. If Arsenal wasn't a thing, I'd still be watching football. I know football, you've got to have these, listen, blood in, blood out, I'll never snake Arsenal at all, but it's almost way too tribal, and for me that robs you of us, of understanding the game, of appreciating the game, and just general talking points. And I'm a football fan because I support Arsenal. I want to know what all the other Premier League teams are doing and how it's going and the rest of it. And I might do a watch. I'm going off topic, but I might do a watch along for PSG Barcelona today. I don't know if you want to see that or you actually like my watch alongs, but I might do something in relation to that. But yeah, kind of carrying on the theme with my podcast, I wanted to speak about football from a neutral point of view. We'll cover Arsenal. I've seen Xhaka has had something to say, or something in relation to Xhaka, nothing major, and Aubameyang in relation to breaching COVID. We'll cover that in a minute. But I wanted to speak about obviously the people in the thumbnail and the basis of the video. People, I want to touch on Jose Mourinho. I want to touch on Jurgen Klopp. Briefly speak on Tuchel, probably speak on David Moyes. I want to really just to bounce something back off you lot in relation to Maddison, Foden, Grealish, and I'm missing someone out, Mason Mount, and all of those sort of players as we move forward towards the Euro. So a couple little talking points, but where's my manners? What are you lot saying? Jack, I hope you're well and safe. It's good, man. I've woke up with a spring in my step. I've woke up hungry to accomplish my goals. So what can I say, man? Big up Emmy's always here. Like he said, hit the like button if you haven't. 2 minutes in, there's 27 real ones already locked in. So please, can it say 27 likes? As usual, big up the Twitch gang as well. Deluded Guna 187 for those of you who want to follow on Twitch. I'm trying to step up my Clubhouse game as well, people. So if you're on Clubhouse, Deluded Guna 04 as well on that one. You're right, up the Everton. I don't know about the team I used to play for, but the area in general, come on. And I love live from Planet X. He said, just finished the podcast. Great listen. So go and stream that. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple for you freeloaders. It's on Anchor. It's on all of that. Go and stream that up. Go and do that up. After this, of course. And I rate that live from Planet X, man, because I don't know how you found the time, between listening. I think that one was 50 odd minutes and then we're straight into this. And I think I released it at 10 a.m. odd our time. I like to release it at 10 a.m. I know people like it as, obviously people are working from home now, but I know people like it as they're going to work. Personally, I like my viewers or people who like my content in relation to the podcast to deal with their mornings. As you lot know, there's a bag of things to worry about in the morning. A bear of us just want to sleep. So I like you lot all to get through whatever you're doing in the morning if you're in the UK or progressing throughout your day, and then you get the podcast. You get what I'm saying? When you're settled and you're ready. That's how I normally move, really. But some of you want it earlier. So yeah, I hope you're well and safe, man. RE, man, it depends, man. People, for every person like yourself, thank you for your praise. Who says, yeah, Deluded talks facts, he knows his thing. People say, oh, and how does he get that name? Certain people say, oh, I can tell how you got that name, sort of thing. I can see why you called yourself Deluded, mate. A very fitting name. So life is balanced in it, but I appreciate the words, man. Raz is saying, man, be acting like fools this early. And I guess you're speaking about Jason. Now, Jason, I think you need to remove your emotions from this, whenever, because my videos are monetized, YouTube asks me, is this video suitable for kids? And I say no. So why am I seeing a child here, Jason? You're right. Liverpool are champions. Arsenal cannot get into the top four. I would trade places right now to be in Liverpool's problems. Listen, we know Arsenal's poor. How much videos and all the talking I do. But like I said at the start, I'm allowed to talk about football from a neutral point of view. I'm a fan of football as well as my club. And I don't see how that is relevant to anything, because Okay, is Jurgen Klopp sitting there and going, okay, we're our season's poor right now, but look where Arsenal are, ha ha ha. You know, that's it. That's an emotional response, and Liverpool are champions. But right now, you on paper, right now, you're about to lose that. You mentioned can't get into the top four. Arsenal can't. I expect Liverpool to be into the top four, but you're about to, if assuming you're a Liverpool fan, you're about to lose your championship title, the first after 30 years, and a disgraceful trying to retain it. And you're out of the top four. You're sixth right now. West Ham are ahead of you. Not that I think you're not going to be in the top four. So, bro, pull up your knickers and just listen in it, because it's football. We're allowed to talk about it. It doesn't matter if I supported Sunderland or whatever. Arsenal have their own problems. I can sit down and talk about Arsenal, but it's a football stream. We will speak about football, whether you're Sheffield United or Manchester City. This is football. So I don't see how that helps anything. You know, I don't think Jurgen Klopp is sitting there thinking, oh, look at Chelsea, look at this team, look at that team. We're champions. You know, that's just idiotic complacency. So, Jason, please, like I said, pull up your knickers, you know, push up your bra, pull your pants up, and just listen in it, because we're talking about football. And I agree with you, River. I'm not you said you're not a Klopp fan, but the romantic football fan in me longs to see a club build a dynasty like the old greats used to. I'm a fan of Klopp. I'm a big fan of Klopp. You know, I'm a big fan of Klopp. You know, I do think he gets away with a lot. I think he's a sorer loser than people give him credit for. I don't think all of his signings are necessarily scrutinized with the same that other people are. But I like Jurgen Klopp. Obviously he's a friend, but you're not exactly a friend as a manager. There is a line in it between being a player's friend and being a gaffer. But I like how, you know, in terms of the new age footballers, you need to be sort of game management, man manager as well. He's got that. I like the way he plays football. I like his principles. And, you know, it's hard not to like Jurgen Klopp. I like Jurgen Klopp. And I'm sure he's upset with this title race. And for me, it's the case of where the Liverpool go from here. Now, immediately, I know in an ideal world, I'm sure Liverpool fans will say, listen, reinvest in the summer and go heavy. Because I think first and foremost, that's where the blame is. Away from the season, I think primarily, same way with Arsenal, differently. You prepare to fail. You plan to prepare. You fail to plan. You prepare to fail. Essentially, you plan to fail, sort of thing. And I think they've done that. You know, me myself, and I said it in the podcast. When I look at even if Jason is still listening, like he is. When I looked at Liverpool, it was something that made me jealous as an Arsenal fan, because listen, you got quality players, you got Jurgen Klopp. There's so many things to talk about, but I felt the man at the top, or the people, the individuals, or the consortium at the top of Liverpool, they wanted to be winners. So then everything's going to fall into place. I saw a club that everyone was pulling in the same direction. I don't know if in hindsight, I had rose tints on because of the Coutinho money. I don't know. But I look at it now, I don't think there's been enough investment. Yeah, they've brought in Thiago, and Thiago hasn't worked out at this moment in time. He's a quality player. I don't know why it hasn't worked out. You know, the man can't tackle. He's out of his depth right now in that Liverpool team. But they needed someone with a bit of different sauce in that midfield. You know, they tried to buy Werner. They tried to buy Fekir. So they knew, well, Jurgen Klopp at least knew that he needed to evolve that team. He needed to shake things up. He knew not only was he playing a dangerous game in that, he knew, you know, it's testament to Liverpool how they managed their players. But he knew he was very lucky in that half of the time his players weren't injured when they won that league title. Lo and behold, when anything can go wrong, it will. He's had bare injuries to the defense. You know, Matip, Gomez, Van Dijk. Even when Van Dijk and Gomez were fit, they looked a bit shaky, Liverpool, but you've seen what happens in that regards, and you see the injuries, and you see, you know, the injuries are a big part. You see how it's derailed their season. There's no way getting around it, but Liverpool have shot themselves in the foot. For me, I think it's on the board, because there's no quality in that Liverpool team beyond the starting 11. You know, I think Jota's been a good signing. Obviously, he was primarily probably going to be a squad player, and you're seeing that he's level. So Jota's cool, but I don't think too many of those signings have shocked things up. Like even Jota, when he was coming there, he was going there to kind of complement the side, and he's now doing what he's doing. You know, they brought in Shaqiri, good player, hardly sets the world on fire. Origi is probably there in Liverpool folklore, hardly a quality striker or to the standard. Yeah, we look at it, the Barcelonas in these comebacks, but where was he in recent weeks? You know, where there's too much of a drop off. You know, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, trophy cabinet is there, but doesn't look a better player than when he was at Arsenal. Naby Keita is a bit different because his thing is just fitness. When he's fit, he's a baller. So their recruitment's been a bit shaky. They've been dealt a shorthand with injuries. Like anyone in the Premier League, you become found out. People start clocking how to play against you. And I think primarily it's been not adapting, not because a lack of proper bringing in players and the complacency. That squad has been together for 3 to 5 years. Everybody's focused on Liverpool winning the league title. What about when they lost out to City after losing one game? What about when they got to the Champions League final? They've been building and steadily progressing, and they were due a sort of road bump. When things can go wrong, it will go wrong. And you look at the last 3 games, they've struggled, people, to put it nicely. They got dealt with against Leicester, messed it up in 11 minutes. Brighton, they effed up. Apologies, people. That's not even them. That's my Spurs. That's the Spurs context. But like I said, that's the Spurs content. Apologies. But like I said, they messed up off the top of my head. Not Brighton, because that was Spurs, which a team we're going to get onto. But they lost against Leicester. They dropped points again. They've dropped points in recent weeks, people, and it's just not been good enough from Liverpool. And when City had this title defense, we gave them a lot of energy. You can't listen. I don't like the way people are questioning Jurgen Klopp and things like he didn't just deliver Liverpool their first league title in 30 years, but to drop off it off the pace, to fall off to this scale, Liverpool are better than that. Like I said, people, apologies. They've lost 4-1 to Man City. They lost 1-0 to Brighton. Spurs did as well. They lost 3-1 to Leicester. They beat West Ham. They've been doing what they've needed to do, but they've made games harder than it needs to be. The front three isn't clicking. The midfield, you're seeing the frailties. They're being dealt a hard hand with injuries. Where they go from here, I'm not sure. I actually think there was more chance of Jurgen Klopp leaving if they were, doing what City's doing now. I don't think Jurgen Klopp's going to just leave after, if we just looked at it in the season. I think they'll be top 4. They'll probably come second, but on current form, I don't know that. But at the same time as well, if the season ends tomorrow, they're 6th. They've gone from 1st to 6th. I think Jurgen Klopp is not running away from that. I think Jurgen Klopp wants to leave on a high. For a number of years, mainly based on this year, I have wondered how long is that Liverpool team going to stay together, purely because, I'm sure they love being at Liverpool. They love what they're needing to be, but none of them really grew up as Liverpool fans. They've all got other sporting ambitions. And when you look at it, Ronaldo, free transfer to Barcelona. I understand it. You've been at PSV, you've done up Newcastle, you've had some great times at Liverpool. There's a one chance to try something new. Again, with COVID in place, players probably won't move, but you could imagine maybe Salah, Mane's not had it. Mane's not really been firing recently. But Mane, Salah, Firmino, who you're seeing his deficiencies and he can't hide behind being creative. Maybe these guys want to move on. Jurgen Klopp, he doesn't really stay at team. This is the longest he'll probably stay at a team. Obviously, being a manager is high demanding. I did think he would, if they won the league again, he'd bow out, because he would have had 2 league titles, cemented one after 30 years, Champions League there, go and try something new. So one does wonder the longevity, because when you look at that Liverpool team, a lot of it screams present, with the exceptions of what Curtis Jones, Joe Gomez, and people of that ilk. Everybody's there for the present. So the next step is the rebuild. And I think it's really on the owners. Obviously, Klopp, I'm sure there's things Klopp could have done differently. Liverpool fans will be able to tell you a bit more from a tactical point of view. But for me, I just don't think the players have been pulling it out. I don't think Robertson's been playing to the same standard. Trent's not been playing to the same standard. For me, the front three have just gone, apart from Salah, they ain't really been doing the business. Cheap mistakes, Alisson, like you saw against Leicester, Alisson's been messing around in recent weeks. Injuries have played a part. It's been a madness, but Liverpool have togetherness. Liverpool will not give up. I think they'll be back. And, if I switch the screen for a second, people, with you guys, this must have hurt Jurgen Klopp to concede, people, on Saturday after the game, he basically said the league thing is over, really and truly, as you can see here, people. Jurgen Klopp says Liverpool title defense is over, and to be over in February, it's upsetting. It must be upsetting for Jurgen Klopp. They're professional footballers. Shout to Harvey Barnes, Maddison, and Vardy, 3 players who probably all deserve to go to the Euros. I know Vardy's retired. Barnes probably won't get it. We'll speak on him in a sec. And I think Maddison will miss out as well. But like you see here, people, Liverpool's title defense is over. Jurgen Klopp's said Jurgen Klopp after his side's late capitulation at Leicester. People, that's their 5th loss in 7 games. And again, anything's possible mathematically, but it's crazy, man. Like he said, I don't think we can close the gap. We're not worrying about the title. We are not silly. And that must have killed him to say that, people, because I'll read this. This was what, a year or a couple years ago. you know, when they just missed out on the title, people, to Liverpool. But like you can see here, people, they've been dealt a short hand, like you said, like I said, people, you know, they've tried to play midfielders there, 17 centre half pairings, as you can see there. And a big part of this comes down to recruitment. Did Liverpool get complacent and thought, like you see, when teams win a lot, they start thinking their players are better than they are. And I'm not saying this is the case, I'm being devil's advocate. They think they don't need to adapt, where if you don't adapt, you don't survive. And Liverpool were due a season like this for the last 3-4 years. It's always been steady improvement. And they have 24 fewer points than last season. A lot of that is due to injuries, but some of that has got to be down to how you're playing, people. The recruitment drive as well. We knew they had no... We were saying when everybody's fit, could you get a partner that's suitable for Van Dijk to his level? And obviously there was a lot of talk, Matip and Joe Gomez. You see him with the injuries, why you need depth. They've brought in 2 centre-halves. You know, Kabach does his thing. I'm not too sure for the Preston lad, people. Like it, you know, they messed up, people. It's their 3rd consecutive loss in the league for the first time since November 2014. As you can say, as you see here, people, he said, we scored a great goal, but we conceded a strange one. I think it's offside. That had too big an impact on the game. We had to show a different reaction. And the 3rd, we gave away too easily. We have to avoid mistakes and misunderstanding. Today, we didn't do that. The rest of the game was really good. First, we have to perform again. Results are massively related to the performance, and that's there, people. And it's always due. It's always gonna be due sometimes a season like this, people. So it must have pained Liverpool to admit that, because you look at it when they missed out on the title by a point after only losing 1 game. Liverpool's title bid was only the first step. That was them in 2019. What happened a year beyond that? You know, and where will it be 2 years from that, people? Like you can see, we tried to write our own history. The team made so many big steps in the last year. We had much development. We had a much bigger jump development wise. As long as Manchester City are around with their financial power, no team will pass them easily. We need to be close to perfection to win the Premier League. As long as this is the case, that sentence there, that for me is something that was probably framed up for the following year, which was obviously last year. So Klopp knows the thing, you know, Klopp knows the thing, people. And there was that year before that, people, where they pushed them all the way before they messed up and finished 4th and 25 points. So they know how to build. So for me, Jurgen Klopp is going to want to react. The players are going to want to react. But at the same time, it's all about recruitment. You know, they need to bring in some quality to really shake things up and stuff like that. Like for me, I think they need a number 9. I think they need a number 9. I think this has shown Firmino's capabilities. I think Firmino's a great player, gets a lot of bad rep. You know, he's definitely disrespected Arsenal more times than not. But I do think there's too many luxuries Firmino's been allowed to hide behind. There's this overstated creativity and how he's the glue that sticks everything together. He's a quality player, but sometimes you have to call a spade a spade. He doesn't score enough, you know. He hasn't been consistent enough, and it's there. Mane, I'm a big Mane fan, and I've tried to avoid not mentioning him, but from a Liverpool fan, I ain't really seen it from him. The fullbacks, you know, the fullbacks ain't really been doing it. I think tactically they've been found out a bit, because, you know, against Liverpool, you stop those fullbacks, you've won half the battle. So maybe there's a bit of that. And I think Liverpool are just part of what's been a collectively poor season, people. So it is what it is in that regard. Apologies as I make a timestamp. So let's say from minute 0 to minute 18 is LFC. Where now for Klopp, let's say that. You lot saw the Xhaka thing, so we'll get into the Xhaka thing in a second, people. But I want to see what you lot are saying in the comments. Big up yourselves, everybody, each and every time. Cameron said, all the top teams minus City have had this slip in form, some worse than others like us. Trust me. DG, they can't play with the fullbacks properly without proper centre-backs, though. I think yes and no. I don't really think that buys it much. You know, you've got Henderson and Fabinho there. You know, fullbacks still have to go forward. They still have to defend well. I see what you mean. They probably don't have as much confidence in their abilities to get the ball in certain positions with the centre halves, with who's playing in centre half, and they might not think, because these men might not be naturals in that role, I don't want to go forward all the time and stuff. And with Ozan Kabach, you know, if I was Trent Alexander-Arnold, new centre half, new to the league, probably a language barrier, I wouldn't want to go forward too much, you know. And again, Jack, that probably goes down to the depth then. You know, that's the depth. That's what I'm saying about how they're being reactive. You know, they had to be reactive. They knew they needed a centre-half or 2 in the summer. They've had to be reactive. For time, they didn't want to sign one, you know. So Klopp's had to use, like you said, other man in them positions there. And now he's finally had to move. I was really, you know, the owners made so much from Liverpool without investing. True, and it just it makes sense, people. But at the same time, I think they hoodwinked me. I thought, yo, them Liverpool owners, they're serious. That's what Arsenal should be. I think Liverpool will be back. I think the fight will be in the bellies. I think Klopp will want to do this thing, but I think it comes down to recruitment, really and truly. I really think that comes down to recruitment. I don't think Klopp will change it. But I guess he has to reinvent himself to a degree. Every manager has to reinvent themselves. Look at Pep. Pep was getting bullied last year. Pep, I'd say myself included, we all know Pep was a quality manager. But this was probably the worst I've seen Pep generally and question him. They went out the Champions League disgracefully. City had a poor season. They were a bit shaky even this year. But Pep, he has to have some. I couldn't tell you specifically what, but there has to have been some reaction from Pep, some reinvention, because they're defending well, they're scoring goals again, the players are back, and I think that's what Klopp's going to be on. Klopp's going to hold his licks, try and salvage what he can from this season. It has to be top 4 without a doubt, and then go again next year, sort of thing. We'll have to see. And obviously, I'd say Liverpool, you have to go harder in the Champions League now, innit? Because if they could go through to the Champions League final or something, they could twang something out of this, man. I think next season is their last season competing for major trophies. Who knows? I think they need to reinvest. It's nice to see, Trent's not the oldest. Curtis Jones has come on the scene. I just think they need a couple more quality players because, with Salah, Salah, Firmino, Mane, they know they're playing. There's not really a man if a number 9, fair enough, Firmino could play behind the 9, but if a striker comes, another winger, everybody's thinking, yo, the boss might put Salah through the middle and this new winger on, I might be on the bench, or the striker might make me miss out. These little things raise your game, in my opinion. Bro, he's a baller. Conde's a baller. I wanted him at Bordeaux. I still want him at Arsenal, but that one there is a madness. Like you said, man, the football cycle is unpredictable. For me, Andrew, that's why you've got to be proactive in this thing. You can't just be sitting on your laurels. You've got to at least try and meet it head on. Like you said, it's unpredictable. How many teams have we seen in this league already this season winning the league, and then they're getting relegated, and then they might not make top 4? I think Liverpool are going to be top 4. But there's a legit chance that Liverpool may not make top 4, which is going to even harm them in the transfer thing, which, again, you need to ask questions. It's crazy, man. Morning, DG. Liverpool have a good chance of not making the top 4 if something doesn't change. And to be fair, the one luxury of Liverpool is nobody's really putting that real form together. I still think they're going to get top 4, but realistically, they could be out of it, It's a mad season, really and truly. And, like I've been saying, because it's such a mad season, if you look back in May and you haven't accomplished whatever goals you set out to achieve, like for me, Arsenal top 4, we only got ourselves to blame. Of course, there's several problems with Arsenal's team. Of course, there's teams better than us. But if you don't finish in the top 4 places, is it because every team's you're here and they're all up there, or have you messed up? That's what's going to be the case for Arsenal, for Liverpool, for Spurs, for anybody who doesn't win leagues, top 4, stay in the division, whatever your ambitions as a club are. If we look at the table instantly, people, City are first, 53 points, 23 games played for those who care, 53 points, Manchester City, second place, Manchester United with 46, Leicester are third, and I'm looking even at Leicester because last year they ran away with a Champions League place and then messed it up. Can they learn from what happened last year? Chelsea, who were winning leagues, then behind even a relegated Arsenal, who were at a time are now 4th. Credit to Tuchel on 42 points. You can't belittle David Moyes' thing. You've seen what David Moyes has done, I think a lot of the stats, only City have bettered them. You have to, only time will tell if they're going to be able to continue this, but you have to give David Moyes some credit. He's 5th at this moment in time, 42 points. There's 24 games played. Well, some men have played 24. Some people have played as little as 22. There's a lot of football to be played, but you have to take David Moyes' side serious. Lingard's gone there moving like Ronaldinho now. 42 points, they're 5th. Liverpool are 6th on 40 points. Now, I expect Liverpool, you know what? I expect Liverpool to be top 4, but at the same time, I say that only 4 teams can be there. Man United, I think Man United, they know how, for whatever you say about Man United, they know how to just twang their way into that, and find form at the right time. So they could slip out. I think they'll stay. I think it'll be Leicester, And I just think so, like last year. And I think I don't want that to be Leicester. I don't want no one, listen, I ain't got no beef with Leicester. I don't want none of our rivals to get it. I like Brendan Rodgers, full of admiration for him. And, it'd be nice for James Justin when he comes back from his injury to play Champions League football, because I don't think he would have went to the Euros, but I would have loved that young lad to go to the Euros and then come back and play Champions League football with his club. I think Leicester will be there, but at the same time, it's gazing. Then you've got Chelsea. I think Leicester will stay. I think Chelsea will be there, but I'm saying that I also think Liverpool. And like I said, only 4 people can make that. So it's a mazza. You know, then you've got 7th place Everton only on 37 points. You've got Villa in 8th. Now they've only played 22. They're on 36. 9th place Spurs 36 points. Then you've got Arsenal on 34. Now I'm hoping, you know, even what from 10th to from 10th to 4th is gazy, really and truly. Even from 2nd, there's not much in it. Of course, goal difference and games played and the runs you have are 2 different things. Like for me at Arsenal, bro, we got Benfica sandwiched in between that. Not that the Europa League is relevant. We've got Manchester City. Then we've got Leicester. So if we take these are almost cup finals. If you take 3 points off of City, I'd arguably say that's 6. And the same goes for Leicester, because they're the ones, like with Arsenal, when we've dropped points and not been able to take advantage, people are going to be looking at that and saying, boy, if we win this game, this and that. You start looking around and seeing what the other teams are doing. So we'll have to see what happens, man. But clearly, I would say for Liverpool, I would say the goal right now surely just has to be top 4. You know, top 4, go as far as you can in the Champions League. It's literally as simple as that. There isn't a whole bunch of other things you can do, really. And I actually want to make a note of when this was spoken of, people. But yeah, here we go. I don't know why my computer did that. Apologies, people. But yeah, that's the first time. So yeah, what are you guys saying? Jamie saying, good morning, DG. How's things? I'm good, my guy. I'm good. I hope you're good. What's good, DG? I'm there, my guy. Micah has said, only the richest clubs compete and win trophies. Fair enough, unfortunately. And said it's your time to win it. I would love to win it, but that's as Arsenal winning the Premier League. I probably got more of an opportunity to grow facial hair. And to be fair, the beard's coming, so it's a calm thing. But we still have an okay chance to get Europa League. We can get Europa League, you know, but I'm not, listen, I will take Europa League. Don't get it twisted. I will take a Euro. We need to finish in a European place for the financial implications. But let's be real, Arsenal fans. The task is top 4. Regardless of we had injuries, this happened, that these other teams are doing this. Our goal in August is top 4. Whatever reason, if you do not get that, there's problems. And for me as an Arsenal fan, already, like there's still May. I still think we can do it. Mathematically, I don't have faith in it. I am looking at it already as we've cost ourselves. You know, we have shot these games that we have lost 9 times out of 10. How many defeats have Arsenal had this season where we've sat there and we've gone, cool, you know what a fantastic football team that was. We've shot ourselves in the foot bare. So again, like it goes back to the point I was saying in that no team is clear of somebody. Yeah, players got better 11, better individuals, but collectively, no team is being clear. So if we don't get that, it's an L. It's an L. You don't finish in the top 4, it's an L, you know. Anything above 8th is progress. Of course, I'm not going to be happy finishing 7th. I'll take 7th, 6th, and whatever, but it's not happy. And I think the one saving grace for Arteta, if you do not get a Europa League place, a Champions League place, finish where you did last season or above, there needs to be a real way of playing. Like we can see a real consistent DNA. You know, the man management is spot on. We're not talking about things like Willian. Not that Arteta will be sacked, but I'd say for me, that's the one thing I could save him, because that would be the worst. That would be the worst thing. If we don't finish in it, if we don't improve our league finish, if we don't implement any style of play, if we ain't really developed any players, you know, if we ain't had a goal and over a 38 game period finished in that goal, whether that's 4-4 or beyond, then that's a failure of a season. And we don't go far to the Europa League. If you don't get to the final minimum, it's all a failure, really, realistically. Like, let's not cap, man. Let's not cap. Man said, I miss playing Arsenal in the Champions League as a Bayern fan. I'm sure you do, to be fair with you, man. I'm sure you do. Me at the same time, I'm not gonna lie, myth. And to be fair, Edison's probably got more contributions than Bear, man. Edison, you see, I really wanted Edison to take that penalty against Spurs. He was on it, man. He was on it. Spurs haven't been electric, but I mean Chelsea, apologies. But I'd argue, my guy, we're approaching that time of the season. You just gotta win now. Like, you just gotta win. You just gotta win. And to be fair, are they really gonna be electric? Tuchel's just come in. I'm seeing some style of play and that finish, but it is what it is. Chelsea could finish 5th, depending if Liverpool turn it around. I think the team to watch is Leicester because, you know, in the same way I said Liverpool year in, year out previously learned their lessons. Leicester were, I don't know if it was to this degree, but I'm sure last season they were having a fantastic season. It got to the end and they messed up, and Chelsea and Spurs took advantage of that. Now, is Brendan Rodgers and Leicester learning from those mistakes? That's personally what I want to see. And if they do that, then they got there. But I just have a funny. I don't want them to, of course. I don't want Leicester to slip up, but I just feel Leicester might just slip up. You know, on one hand, I think they're there. On the other hand, I think they slip up. So obviously, if they slip up, I think that's Liverpool's. Pardon me, Liverpool's cue. Chelsea snake. I see Chelsea just snaking their way in, but it all depends on Leicester. It all depends on Leicester. You know, Liverpool right now, Tuchel's coming at the right time. There's been that managerial bounce. You know, everybody's spirits are lifted. He came through at the halfway point. They're doing their thing, man. Doing their thing. Of course, Drill. Of course. Of course, there's been injuries. You know, Arteta's had to deal with a lot of crap since he signed for this football club. People, stuff that he hasn't. You know, I'm not gonna bore you in it. But Trill, you know yourself. You know yourself. He's had to do a madness. There's been, you know, question marks over players, bare injuries. You know, manic preparation, COVID. There's been all these problems. People, you know, players haven't been available. But at the same time, like you said, it's no excuse. And even though I give it sympathy, and it is during his full season. At the same time, bro, we're playing it. You know, it doesn't really. I can't really use that one too much because I said it in August and I've been saying it all months. You know, you as a manager or as a collective bunch of players, injuries are a part and parcel of the game. You know, it is what it is. There's injuries. There's all these things. You've still got to get over it. And when I look at the L's we've taken, is it because we've had players missing or we've just done dumb stuff? I know against Crystal Palace, for example, a lot of man was saying there's no Tierney, there's no this and that. I agree. We have Tierney. We might get something for what it gives us down the left-hand side. But I'm talking about a left back not being there and we're not scoring. Does that really make sense? Really and truly, 9 times out of 10, when Arsenal have dropped points this season, it hasn't been because teams are better than us. It's because we've effed up. So to a degree, not having your players available for the collective has been poor. I like how Arteta now has found the way of playing and not trying to reinvent the wheel. But, you know, I think at times he's experimented unnecessarily and we've been made to pay. We've shot ourselves in the foot. So while it is a factor, I don't really think it's a part of it because for the most part, we've shot ourselves in the foot in all these L's. So it is something to remember, of course. But at the end of the day, all that matters is improvement, you know, improvement. And that's all that matters. And time will tell if we're going to see that, man. There was another question. Yeah, it kind of ties into the last one. Is it progress if you finish higher with less points? Well, I'd say we finished higher in it. So, yeah, obviously context is key and things like that. I would say, yeah, to a degree. Why not? We're not doing all right. We're not doing all right. We're 10th with 10 L's. Like we're under no circumstance. Our team is poor. You know, it's a mad rebuild. Our expectations need to be tempered, but let's not. We're not doing all right. We're just existing. We're doing quite shit, to be honest with you. 10 L's, disgraceful ways. We've improved defensively, but the mistakes are still there. There's some building blocks. We're definitely progressing. We're definitely in a good space, but I defo don't agree with we're doing all right. We're doing poor. We're doing all right compared to our previously poor standards that we've set this season. But I wouldn't say we're doing all right. I wouldn't say we're doing all right. But fair play. Everyone's allowed their opinion. And that's it. They did flop it on the last day, you know, and that's about seeing it through to the end. That's why I'm worried with him, really and truly. But we'll have to see, man. We'll have to see. I hope Brendan Rodgers can do it, man. I remember fans wanted Mourinho. To be fair, there was nothing wrong with it at all. We'll get into the Mourinho thing. Can't wait to see the back of this season, DG. I'm a bit immune to it. I don't really want to. I want to see the end of it, but I don't know if it's me, man. Like, but I don't, because I think the one saving grace for me, with my expectations on the floor, has been the Halen boys, really and truly. Like, we've clearly Arsenal have gone back to basics. We've stripped it down to the brim. Just want to see some progress, and I think there are some progress, but I do think we're in this middle ground where people are just, you're either way too negative or you're ridiculously positive. There needs to be balance in where we've come a long way. We've made some progress. There are some building blocks, but there's still a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. So it is what it is in that regards. I'd say we're playing catch up for what we've done previously. And for me, it's like it's just a case of we need to stop defeating ourselves. I would love to end up in the top six. I would love to end up in the top six. I think that would be a real good way to end the season for me personally. I'd love to see that. Really would love to see that. Man, I said DG underrated YouTuber, top 3 streamers around, and he's not top 1. I mean, he's not top 3. Love for the praise, my guy. I don't know about all of that. I'm just gonna keep working hard, and you lot draw your own opinions. Honest opinion on the City game. It's early. It's too early to really speak. But if I was a betting man, let's just say I wouldn't bet on Arsenal. Football. What I would say is play the occasion, not the team. Innit? Play the occasion. Play the occasion, not the team. What I don't want to see is obviously respect City, respect what they're doing, respect the threats that they have in their team. But I don't want us to over respect them when we're playing football. We're not trying things we might try in normal contexts because we're full of admiration for these City players and who they are. You know, have a go. You know, it's almost a free hit in that it's all. You know, the quality of the performance is relative to that, but nobody probably expects us to win, so you could only use that to your advantage. If I was a betting man, I wouldn't bet, but I hope we can win. You know, and I do. This is why I wanted to beat Leeds. This is why I want to beat Benfica, because we need a bit of run. We need a bit of form going into these games, people. I hope we do a job. I hope our team stand up to be counted because we're in a tough run of games. I hope Pep Guardiola lets his boy Arteta just grab a little 3 points, really and truly, man. You know, live from Planet X has said it's all good and well to want the season to end, but if we don't invest and prepare like a serious club, there's no difference. True. And true, that's it. Arsenal always playing catch up, bro. We never help ourselves. That's like it for me. Even if we do everything we need to do, we're still relying on other teams. And that's for me, Arsenal, when our fate is in our own hands, when we can control our own destiny, whether that's winning at 12:30 and seeing what the other teams are doing, whether that's playing last on Sunday and then knowing where you're going to be, I think we choke. Until we learn to control our own destiny and be less reactive, I don't think we're going to get anywhere really and truly, man. How far can you get in the final? I think we can get to the final, man. I think we can get to the final. We've been there before. I think we can get to the final, but it's down to these players, man. It's down to these players. It's down to Arteta. Listen, when we went out in the Europa League last year, I felt there was a lot of lessons for Arteta to learn and the players, because against Olympiacos over those 2 legs, we didn't do enough in it. Simply put, we did not do enough. So I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned. But the players should have killed the game in the first leg. So by that logic, if for some reason we stumble across it and it's all working wavy for us against Benfica, kill the game. Please make sure you're hitting the like button, people. There's 153 of you in here locked in and there's only 65 likes. You, man, are violating. Come on. And this is all I want, bro. Control our own destiny. City's odds will put me off. But then again, you know, upsets are there, innit? Upsets are there, man. You know, and this is what I'm saying, Cam. I'm looking for the team to cause some massive upsets until the end of the season and shut up the haters and reactionaries, but I'm a realness. And that's what I want to do as well, man. For me, it's all about the performance against City. You know, it's all about the performance. I don't want to go there just resigned to defeat. And what we typically have done against City and Liverpool is say, oh, we lost 1-0. We never lost 7-0 and 5-0. It's all right. Which on one hand, you know, that's I'm gassed, you know, that shows some progress. But on the other hand, it's a bit defeative. Don't get it twisted. I will take that, but you get what I'm saying. I want to cause an upset as well because it would help us. And these boys, you know, more looking towards next season and beyond if we eventually get the team us fans want. But you've got to be able to play against these teams and get something off them, you know, sort of thing. Because if you don't really take points off the big 6, you know, you don't really put consistent 10 game or so runs of form together, you're not going to be able to get top 4 and beyond. Augustina said, I still feel like we can get Champions League. We can. It's mathematically possible. I support my boys. I want them to get it. Like, for me personally, I don't think it can happen, people. But if I was a fan and I heard one of these players say they don't believe it, I would want to slap them. If I was Arteta, I'd want to slap them. Because the world should be telling you can't do anything. Arteta should be telling you can do it. And all you should be listening to is Arteta. All you should be listening to is your brothers around that training, that change room. You lot should all believe you should get top 4 and act like it. That's what I want to see. And I don't know if they really seize the opportunity, because when we're handing away these points, it don't seem like it means the world. So I would say that mathematically we can get Champions League. I just think we'll let ourselves down. You know, I just think we will let ourselves. We are our own worst enemies. You know, on our day, we can beat a lot of teams, but our days are not often. So I hope we can do it. I hope we can do it. But it's all about, for me, before I look at other teams, I always look at my own team. And psychologically is what scares me, you know, consistently. I know I shouldn't. On one hand, I shouldn't have to praise my players for in isolation, turning up for these big games in the FA Cup and the rest of it. These things should be a minimum. You get it? You know, I shouldn't praise you for having intent, for having fight, for having desire. It's like when you lot praise me for consistency on YouTube. Don't get it twisted. I'm appreciative of it. But should I be praised for that? Should I be applauded for that? Or is it the minimum? If you want to get somewhere, then I have to keep turning up each and every day and showing you like my face and giving you my opinions. Do you get it? So let's see what we're saying. And it's like, Josh, I don't want to be negative, but our next 8 games are difficult. So this is what I'm saying. Man, they have to stand up to be counted. Whether you're and the squad is going to be needed now. It's not just any 11. Not that we can put out our best 11 because there's injuries. The whole squad is going to be needed now, you know, because we're going into the Benfica game. City sandwiched in between that. There's probably going to be some rotation. We're going to need everybody now going into the end of the season. Every game's a cup final, and anyone who doesn't think like that is a problem. And the problem is, I know Arteta thinks like that. I believe Bukayo Saka, Kieran Tierney, Thomas Partey, you know, Gabriel Martinelli, you know, Bukayo Saka, if I haven't said his name, you know, I know a lot of these, I know a couple of these men think like this, but I don't know if collectively they're all on this, you know. I need to see 25 man, 11 starting, 25 man all on this. You know, I don't know. Against Leeds, I'd say, all right, cool, because you scored 4 goals and a couple players were dropped. I'd say, all right, cool. But seeing is believing, man. This is it. Silly mistakes, but are they silly mistakes, or is that just how your team plays if you're doing it consistently? And for me, I feel sorry for Arteta because that's obviously Arteta shouldn't play man that can't be relied on. But for me, it's a thing where these individual mistakes, the players should want to get that out of their own game. You know, you can't account for Luiz, and you know Xhaka's been playing quite good, but Xhaka historically, you know, bare man in this team make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes, but certain men are good for about 5-6 mistakes that will cost you 3 points across the course of a season. So when you've got 3 or 4 men like that in your team, you know, it's a mad thing. Like, do you get it? It's an absolute Mazzolini. Too many broken, easily players. Not enough hard body shit out here. For sure, man. For sure. Bro, wallahi, you're actually my guy. Best Arsenal page on YouTube. I appreciate the praise, my guy. Really appreciate that, man. Really, we need to keep going. What has River Wild said? We need to find consistency in performance and attitude. We need to be ruthless. Yep, and kill teams on a regular. Like against Leeds, you went and, you know, you pressed Leeds. Leeds handed you some goals. You went and slapped 4 goals in. But how many times, not to be negative, but how many times to a degree we've played like that in the first half against Leeds? And we might have 10 chances, not take none of them. The other team takes 1, they score. Suddenly it's halftime 1-0. And then we might get a 1-1 where, and we say, boy, if this didn't happen, if that didn't happen, or, you know, we'll take the lead. And then in the last minute, they'll get a chance and score, and we'll find positives and stuff like that. I think Arsenal fans and Arsenal players, and actually Arteta, I think everybody needs to, in fact, not Arteta, because he understands. Everybody needs to deep that, bro, football is 90 minutes, you know. Too often when we talk about Arsenal, man, are like, yeah, we played well up until that point when this happened and that happened. Cool, so we didn't then. You can use that, but same way, playing good for 10 minutes in a 90-minute game, walk off for the other 80. You know, you're not going to get points for possession, for being the better team in the first half. You got to start and end games, you know. This is the thing. This is the thing. Hamshik, big up yourself, Hamshik. What have you said? What positions would you prioritize this summer if we was to sign 3 players? Midfield, whether that's keeping Odegaard on loan again or bringing in someone like that, or going for you know, a number 8 or something. I think you need an 8 and you need a 6 minimum if you're not going to bring in the 10. So I'd say two midfielders, probably a centre half as well, or I would put a slash next to that. I'd say right back, because Maitland-Niles is irrelevant to this now. So it's just Bellerin and Cedric. You know, we're getting to the end of the season. I've seen Cedric of recent come into his own. I've seen Bellerin have some good or bad moments. Am I convinced over both of them right now for next season? 38 Premier League games and however much in any European competitions and domestic competitions? I'd say no. In the same way, the only time I talk about Tierney in a negative sense is when Tierney's not available because there's no left back. I know what I'm getting from Tierney 9 times out of 10. I know he's consistent. Above everything else, he gets it. I want that at right back. I don't want to keep talking about that, because you look at our defense, you know, Leno has a lot of criticisms from a lot of people, myself included. But since that man has come in, he has not had a certified defense. He's had a defense that's played good in some moments. We need a proper defense, and that needs to be foundation. You know, even without that, I'd say Arteta's patterned our defense. We can defend. We're a bit more confident, but at the same time, we've hit a glass ceiling because these men still make mistakes. I wouldn't say we're confident defending. Any Arsenal fans out there, are you genuinely confident over 90 minutes with our defending? We've made an improvement, but we're still shaky. So how far can we go? How far have we hit? So I'd probably say that, man. Defense is central, you know. So I'd say midfield defense needs to be patterned before anything else. You know, the wingers are all doing their jobs with the exception of Willian. You get the point. Shy Guy said it's their goddamn job to win games. Anything less is failure. Psh, I'll argue with that. Smash up the like button, please. It doesn't cost a thing. This as well, my guy. I completely forgot. Your comments gone, man. The guy I had up earlier. You mentioned backup left back. That is an area as well to address. But you know, backup left back. Oh, there you are. Big up the Twitch gang. I get you. We need a left back, but same way, backup left back, no first choice right back. I know which one's gonna be my priority until then. What would you call a good transfer window in terms of incomings? You, bro, get me a midfielder, bro. Get me a midfielder, fam. Get me a couple midfielders. Anything beyond that's a benefit, man. I need that, man. I'm just loving bantering my brother who is a Liverpool fan. Arsenal fans, we're shameless because we have no goddamn right to banter Liverpool. No goddamn right. You know, but I get you. You're onto them because when they were winning the league, they were doing some blasphemy stuff. You know, I remember I was seeing combined 11s. They're moving Thierry Henry left wing to play Firmino. Are you taking it? Are you taking it? Man are telling me Vieira can't get into Liverpool's midfield and that. So I understand it, but we have no goddamn right to do that. No goddamn right to do that at all, man. No goddamn right to do that. Quickly, people. I know it's Arsenal at the moment. We're going Arsenal, but we're gonna quickly go back quickly to a couple of neutral topics, and we'll circle back around. But what has Dermot said? We loaned out our first choice right back. I assume you're talking about Maitland-Niles. Someone has said we need someone like Verratti, Cazorla to partner Partey. That's what we need. We need someone that can control the game. We either need to go and get a traditional 10 or what I would like a modern day number 8. I would also like someone that can do what Partey can do when Partey's in there. You know, that's why I wanted to keep Torreira away from Torreira's whatever reason Torreira's not playing for Arsenal Football Club, because he could have been used with Partey in games that we're not going to have the ball. And obviously, if Partey isn't there, we're back to square one. Forget the player Partey, just the skill set. He's the only one that really can put a foot in. Yes, Xhaka puts in a shift. Yes, Ceballos does, but that's Partey's bread and butter. Partey's more than that. He can play football, of course, but primarily that's what he came to the club, man. That's what he signed for, people. I would love listen, if it was just on ability, I would love Torreira to return to the club. And Guendouzi. But right now, Guendouzi is the one I have small hope for. Torreira's, I want Torreira out, you know, really. It's nothing to do with his ability. It's just you're not committed to this thing. For whatever reason, you didn't settle in England. You know, go elsewhere and do your thing. You're a quality player, but go elsewhere. I'm at the point where I just want men that are committed to the cause. They're certified in this regard. Man have said, big up the Twitch gang. Twitch gang, you said, do you think Arsenal regret letting go of Benassia? They should have. They tried to give him a 4-year deal and he rejected it because he didn't want to play academy football. But yeah, broski. Yes, of course. You know, he'd be perfect right now, you know. Simple as that. Let me briefly I want to briefly speak about Jose Mourinho very quickly, people. Very, 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 very quickly. I promise. Because this is a neutral stream. As I was saying, people, I should really share the screen with you guys. These are just some comments, really. You know, in relation to Jose Mourinho, I do think it's a bit of a topsy-turvy one when you speak about Jose Mourinho, because for me, I think 1 minute he's held as the Messiah. He's shown a willingness to change. He's gone to Spurs and all these sort of things. And then the next minute he's not. It's negative football. You know, the catch-22 with Jose's football, you only shut up about it when you're winning. When you're winning, you don't really care. You know, you can say it's negative, you can whisper, but you're winning. When you're not winning, when you can't buy your way out of things like Spurs, when you've got to probably watch your pennies a bit like Spurs, you're in a bit of problems. And I'd say Jose, he's in a humble position right now in that he's not at a league dominant side. He's not at a bully thing. He's having to work with certain players. You know, he's found a way for Ndombele. I still think he's got the players on his side. I still think they're playing for him. I don't think he's quite lost them yet. I think he has made them a bit harder to beat. I think he has done some good for him, but often they're not, you know. Pardon me, they're shipping too many goals recently, you know, 3-1 against Liverpool. Calamitous lost to Brighton, they lost to Chelsea, they lost to City, and they had the 5-4 against Everton. So they're conceding goals, they're not really building, they're quite stale, they're quite negative, they're just relying on individual brilliance, they're just sitting back in games. It's looking a bit mad, really. And I'd say he can't really complain because he was backed. He had a better market. He had a better window than Pochettino had in his last one. He wanted a striker. He got that. He wanted Bale back. He got that. He wanted a centre half and a fullback. He got that. In hindsight, it was I was as well. I say you can't lie. We can't look at the future. I would say Spurs had a good window. None of their signings were, apart from Bale, were amazing, but all of them addressed an area. They got a backup striker, a backup centre half, a backup fullback. Now, in hindsight, obviously, Rodon's done all right. Doherty's probably been the deadest. Vinicius has done all right. Bale's been a flop. There's no way around it. Bale's a quality player, but what's that? A 20 million loan, 20 million loan when you count all the factors in, and he's not been amazing at all. Whether he's been fully fit is another thing. I don't think they're going to keep him permanently. Maybe a bit of that's to Bale. A lot of that might be down to Jose. Fundamentally, it's not working right now because of what we already know with Jose, in that negative football, quite stale in that. And Jose hoodwinked a lot of people, myself included, that he would kind of change the way he is. He ain't changing for ish people, and I don't think they're going to get rid of him because they've backed him in the market. They've put significant outlays on certain players. His contract is 30, and to be honest, you're not going to do up apparently there's concerns at Spurs, but I don't think it's quite gone to that level to sack him. And I'm just a fan looking in, and I'm always going to want Jose to stay if he's doing this. But you need a plan. It's like with Chelsea and Lampard. You can't just scream, Saka man, Saka man, Saka man, Saka man, and then you sack him today. What happens then? That I'm not saying that to keep him, man, but you need a plan. They've been linked with Nagelsmann and all of these things, and Nagelsmann will probably be a better fit. He's used to working with what he has. I think it'll be decent, but fundamentally they're shipping too much, and they're making calamitous individual mistakes, man, as well. I'm not going to lie. The players have to take responsibility. I do think Spurs need to reinvest. Some of them players have hit the end of their cycle, really and truly. As you can see here, Tottenham have conceded a combined 8 goals in their last 2 games, people, excluding the one where they've obviously played at the weekend. That's the most Jose has conceded across a 2-game period, people. So we'll have to see in relation to Jose Mourinho. Is there anything in relation to Jose Mourinho? Oh, people. Here we go, here, people. So you can hear a lot of sack talk. So again, maybe we are there. Maybe we are there. As you can see, Jose's hitting out at the fixture schedule. Again, Spurs have had a tough time with injury. As you lot know, he's under pressure. Like you can see here, man said Arsenal. Tottenham, not you, whoever that is. Tottenham, bro, Jose, you're my guy, but F off, man. Tottenham want to wait until the end of the season before deciding whether to sack Jose Mourinho, according to reports. As you lot can see, his side are in a torrid run of form, picking up just 12 points from their last 12 games, people. So that's a point a game. And Daniel Levy, he's backed him in the market. It's been an expensive contract for him. So again, something's got to happen. And Spurs are flirting with being like Arsenal and being out of the Champions League for another period, maybe even out of Europa League fully as well. He's been there for just over a year, and it's had some good moments. Let's not lie. It's just been really recent where it's got poor. Like, there were rumblings, but it's really got poor now. We'll have to see. Apparently, they're going to wait to the end of the season, so there isn't too much more you can see in that regards, people. So all the talk is in relation to a sack and things like that. Like you can see here, they're feeling the heat. Let's look at this one. So as you lot can see, they're looking at Nagelsmann and Brendan Rodgers. I think Brendan Rodgers would take a look at Spurs, but I do think Brendan Rodgers, his next move, he needs to be careful about it, because I think you can't underestimate what you can do with Leicester. Leicester have shown they can hold on to players. You're being allowed to maybe not spend massive outlays on players, but you're allowed to bring people in. You've got stability. Now, obviously, that stability is always within reason. You have a couple of bad games and suddenly you're gone as well. That is football. So he probably would jump at the next opportunity. I think Liverpool might ask for him to come back, if Klopp leaves. I know there will be Brendan Rodgers, Gerrard, Nagelsmann as well, probably 3 names on the list. If Spurs could get a Rodgers in or a Nagelsmann, it would be decent. But Rodgers ain't leaving to the end of the season. And to be fair, if you're Brendan Rodgers, you get Champions League football after, including last year, you've had 2 solid years. Would you want to give that up, really, for what you don't know what's going to happen at Spurs, really? I'd rather work with the Leicester. It's a bit like Arsenal. I think Brendan Rodgers would listen to Arsenal and Spurs, but do I necessarily want to leave Leicester for either club, especially with Arsenal? That tells you where we probably are. But as you lot can see here, courtesy of the Daily Mail, people, Jose Mourinho's position as Tottenham boss is under increased scrutiny. Spurs are wary of sacking the special one owing to a prohibited cost. So again, it comes down to the contract. So until it goes real topsy-turvy and the season's really written off, because they can still get far in Europa League, mathematically they can still challenge for the Champions League spots. They're still in a cup final. You know, if Jose went turn, do you know what? I can see a future. I think a cup will save him, but I can see a future where they might just sack him, or Jose might just walk if they win the Carling Cup at the end of the year, because he still keeps his tradition of every club he's won a trophy. We all know that Spurs is the hardest role for Jose to take because they're not bullies. They can't buy their way out of problem. They've never been the biggest club in the league, in London, let alone the league, and they never will. Come on, Spurs, you know I got to send them small shots. You lot have been doing better than us of recent years. But again, this article is saying the same thing, people. His position can be under threat. They've picked up 12 points from 12 games. They're out of the FA Cup. One luxury once again is being in the Carling Cup final. But it's and again, they've got Europa League action this weekend, people. He could potentially end their 13-year drought. Again, if he gets rubbed out in that final, which I hope happens for Man City, it'll be great. As you lot can see here, people, he has no break clause. And I will say the last step of Jose is when he loses the players. That's why I don't think he's gone yet, because I don't think he's lost every player yet. I think players are still playing for him. I think there's something to be said in what's happening with Bale. You know, Dele Alli, there's something going on there. He wasn't allowed to go on loan to PSG or just leave. We'll have to see what happens, people. Like I said, they're playing on Thursday. Then they've got an informed West Ham on Sunday. So it's a hefty fixture schedule. As you lot know, Spurs have made him, because Spurs needed Jose more than he needed them. Let's be real at the time. 15 million a year. Again, they probably won't fork out 15 million in his contract if he was to be sacked, but there'll be a significant amount of compensation to be paid to him and his coaching staff. You'd have to bring in a new man. And surely, again, Jose had clout. But surely if a new man comes in, you have to give him money to spend, because he could turn around and say, he's not my guy, he's my guy, he's not my guy, he is my guy. So again, you need a plan. So I don't think anything's going to happen anytime soon, people. So like you can see, the pressure is mounting, really and truly. It's mounting. There ain't really anything there. You know, as you lot could see here, the scum, as I like to call this newspaper, I don't want to say their name, but they could pay Jose almost 35 million if they sack him. I'm sure Jose won't care. I wouldn't care. He's contracted for another 2 years at least, and there's no exit option. So that's good negotiations from Jose Mourinho's agent. That's probably poor from Daniel Levy's side, and it screams desperation to get my man in. They'd have to pay up his full contract, so that's at least 2 years. You know, however many millions that is, they have to pay that up, people. He was backed in the window. He's not doing the job. I love to see the graphic of Spurs' trophy droughts. It's amazing. So it is what it is in relation to Jose Mourinho. That's all I wanted to speak about in relation to him. So let's add up the timestamp, people. You know, what is that? 56:02. Jose sacking. So yeah, people, that's the first couple of ones. So yeah, man, get big up, you lot. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. Please, let's get that to 100 likes. Please, let's get that to 100 likes. So what we spoke about, what we touched on Spurs, we touched on Liverpool, a bigged up West Ham. Like I said, you got to big up David Moyes, and things like that. If I haven't said it as well, big up Thomas Tuchel. In fact, going back to Liverpool very quickly, people, you know, Liverpool have actually lost 3 consecutive Premier League games for the first time since November 2014. Ironically, that happened when Brendan Rodgers was last in charge. Liverpool don't kill games in the first half of the games anymore. And up until the end of 2020, Liverpool had scored more first half goals than any other Premier League team that season. Well, this season with 18. Since the turn of the year, only Burnley have fewer in the opening 45 minutes. And did Burnley not score 2 in the first 10 minutes against Palace? So that one probably needs to be revisited. Talking on Thomas Tuchel at the moment, people, again, you know his team. You know, it's all about how he finishes at Chelsea. I think Thomas Tuchel is gonna be a success at Chelsea personally. But what I do think there is right now is not and again, take nothing away from his coaching. I think the coaching is valid. I just think it's a bit like Arteta and any new manager, whereas whenever a new manager comes in, there's an uptake in a performance. Players that ain't been involved are now involved. Players that were involved get rubbed out. You know, there's a bit of there's a bounce around the place. Sooner or later, that's going to fall out. So we're going to have to see what Chelsea are really on. But I think Thomas Tuchel will be a success for him because he's taken what Lampard has, showed why he's more experienced than Lampard and perfected it. He wasn't happy about the win against Newcastle and several variables to it. And it was quite interesting, his segment, people, because as you know, there's a lot of Chelsea players available. And I'd say Werner obviously got a goal and was involved in the assist, and since he's come in playing a bit better. Kovacic has found a new lease of life. Tammy, Giroud, we don't really know where he sees them. He was, he praised a couple players, but he weren't happy with the performance. And I think this telling segment from him after the game says it all for me. He said they are, in relation to players that are involved in not, he said they are good options, but sometimes you can have too many players and it can cause you a problem on the training pitch. So what does this tell me? You're going to see a lot of we already know it was a big squad, but there's going to be a lot of surgery in the summer, really and truly. Big them up because they kept a clean sheet. They got 3 points and whatnot, people. As you lot can see here, Thomas Tuchel has picked up 13 points from his first 5 games in charge of Chelsea. That makes him level with Jose Mourinho's first 5 with the club, and only bettered by Carlo Ancelotti and Sarri. And both the man there won trophies. This man there in my lifetime is probably Chelsea's best ever manager. So again, you start as you mean to go along. Only Jermaine Defoe has scored more goals than Giroud as a sub. Big up Giroud. Timo Werner scored. It took him 1,000 minutes, but he found the back of the net again after November. Chelsea have improved a lot defensively. They've conceded just 1 goal in their last 5 under Thomas Tuchel, people, which is the joint lowest number of goals conceded across a manager's first 5 in the Premier League. And that's been an uptake. Lampard was kind of struggling in that regards after initially finding a sort of solution. So what Chelsea, City and Arsenal, I'd probably say are the best defensive sides in the league. And I'd probably say only City out of the 2 are significantly clear of the rest, people. So make of that what you will. But that's that in relation to Thomas Tuchel, people. What minute was that in? That was 1 hour. What are you guys saying in the comments, people? Big up yourselves. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. Come on, bro. We talk about all sorts of football, man. I think there was a bounce when Arteta came in. And it doesn't necessarily have to be just 3 points. I think we played very well. He played very well against, who did we play? His first game was against Chelsea. Ironically, we just finished talking about Tuchel. His first game was against Chelsea, people. And what did you see? The players effed it up in the last couple of minutes, people. 2 goals in 15 minutes. And obviously against United the next week. And to be honest, we did win an FA Cup. Would we have won that? Again, we might have, but would we have won that FA Cup and won those big games if Emery was still in charge? I don't know. So there was a sort of uptake. But then again, it kind of it's back now, but it wore off. So that's my point. There is always a honeymoon period. Facts, man. Is Anfield still a fortress? I would say, yeah, because the numbers, maybe because the way they're playing, it's not, but the numbers don't lie. How many losses generally have they had at Anfield? Really and truly, it won't be, even if Jurgen Klopp didn't get top 4, I don't think he should sack him. He should have to hold an L, but I don't think he should be sacked for that personally. Obviously, it is a sackable offense, but I mean, this man claimed your trophy after 30 years. You have to allow him, man. You're right. Nagelsmann's onto bigger things than Spurs, but I'd incline to believe the Bayern Munich thing's his, but it is what it is. No fans should turn on Klopp. Apart from constructive criticism about your manager, he shouldn't be sacked, or he shouldn't turn on him. It's the owners. Like he said, facts there, man. Facts. Big up everybody locked in. Please make sure you hit the like button, man. And this just shows there's more to being a manager than a club legend. To be fair, I think you're being harsh on Gerrard. I wouldn't say Gerrard's flopping. He's doing quite well, to put it nicely, at Rangers. Henry and Frank Lampard. Frank Lampard got these jobs for no reason. What did he do to get the Derby job? Lo and behold, he has the Chelsea job, and sooner or later he fucks it up. Henry, lovely footballer, terrible manager from what we're seeing, and it kills me to say that because he's my guy. Please make sure you hit the like button. Man are saying Leipzig versus Liverpool watch along. I was going to do PSG versus Barca if I was going to do anything, because that's the game I really want to watch, man. Arteta's first game was against Bournemouth. Apologies. But yeah, but anyways, that still doesn't neglect my point. In fact, you could say there was a bit of an uptake in that performance because we were still poor when we drew, but there was an uptake. But I would say for me, I did see the managerial bounce and that sort of stuff when he played against Chelsea and United at the Emirates. And obviously with the FA Cup, DJ said the work rate is crazy. Love to see it, DG. I appreciate that. The views might not be there and all these things, but we keep working, man. Dia said, big up Deluded. I always miss your live streams because I'm working, but always make sure to watch them back. Big up yourself, one of the best out there. I appreciate you, Delian, as well, man. Don't worry. Do your work 9 to 5, pay your bills, and YouTube never sleeps. I'll be here again, man. Thank you for these streams, DG. They've been helping me out a lot. Well, as long as I can bring some quality and some decent football chat to you guys, I'm appreciative of that, man. I love having you here, Mr. Boss, as well, man. I appreciate that. Would rather see PSG bosses. Trust me, man. You know, that's what I want to see, bro. That's what I want to see. Moving away from that, though, let's quickly, because I don't want to forget about it. Let's move on to Arsenal again quickly, people. Granit Xhaka, apparently Arsenal season ticket holders racially abused midfielder online, according to a study. Now, racism has no place. We all know the social medias allow people to hide. We all know ignorance is fueled even more on socials because there's no real, you know, you can hide your identity. There's no real sanctions for being racist on Twitter and these things. Like even my man that racially abused Ian Wright, he bust case, no custodial sentence, no thingy, no fine, no nothing. He probably was back the same day calling Ian Wright at the M word and them F3s there. I don't need to bore you lot as to why Granit Xhaka should be criticised or praised for his footballing ability, not criticised for his nationality or what makes him him and his racial background. And we all know we live in a country where we don't see colour, but as soon as it's time to get angry at someone, you effing this, you effing that, go back to your country, do this, that, and the third. And you know, let's not pretend that we've made any progress with racism. Of course, I can walk out the street and not be racially abused, but racism is kicking, it is there and kicking, and racism. You know, football mirrors society. You're seeing a lot of racism in football. You're seeing far rights rising in society and foreigners being blamed for everything. When really it should be it's a class war, and you know the higher classes are using the sort of smaller classes, like, you know, a rich upper class person is going to an area, let's say up north, where there's a lack of investment, a lack of jobs where the government are not doing their things, and they're blaming foreigners, and they're just seeing red and moving with it. So as you lot can see, sadly Granit Xhaka was abused. I'm trying to see how they've quantified that. It's been season ticket holders. An investigation has claimed this. Apparently, Xhaka and other Premier League players were targeted during a month-long study as analysts aim to reveal the true identities of prolific abusers on social media. I apologize quickly and very briefly, people. What was that? Was this Jose? Apologies, people. I'm just making a timestamp. But yeah, moving back to it again. You know, analysis by Signify, a data science company, has revealed 16 incidences of targeted racially abuse towards Granit Xhaka, including posts from accounts who self-identify as Arsenal season ticket holders. So again, you could just put I'm an Arsenal season ticket holder in my bio and you claim as that, but you know, is what it is. Pardon me. Arsenal have told Sky Sports that they will take the strongest possible action against any abuser that is linked directly to their season ticket or membership database. The study has also revealed a homophobic abuse towards Hector Bellerin, and we all know why that is, because, you know, of his hair, of his love for fashion, and all of these sort of things. Apparently, they also found 52 accounts involved with online hate against Chelsea's Rudiger, identified as, you know, so again, there was other season ticket holders elsewhere. And, you know, I'm not going to read the rest of that, but it is quite crazy, man. And we all know what happened to Rudiger, as people on Twitter claimed he was the reason Lampard is gone and things like that. Like you can see here, hate against Xhaka. A 30-day analysis of Xhaka's name on Twitter around the Premier League fixtures revealed, you can see it here, people, 2,000 odd posts, of which were marked containing abuse. 52% of abusive posts occurred during the day of the Burnley match, where obviously I'm pretty sure he got red carded. 16 incidences of racism, and you see it with every team now. Anytime, you know, Martial's been getting racially, every player, you lot up, it's too much to keep up with. You lot all know what's happening. You can see all these things here, people. 6 posts expressed a desire to carry out violence on Xhaka. Now, on one hand, these are the pussios that I'd rather see some get smacked up the most. Don't get twisted. The racist man need to get eaten alive as well. But it's these sort of people, man. I ain't got time for this. You're talking wicked chat. And if Xhaka was in your face, you know, one thing you can give Xhaka's hard body. Xhaka will smack up youths, you know. If you were allowed to smack up youths, Xhaka would smack up youths. That's one thing, you know. You can criticize Xhaka, but I actually like Xhaka as a person. I like how he takes these things in his stride. I was at the game where, not the Burnley one, where he swore at the fans. I don't condone it. But fans, you can't tell a man to F off and get upset when you don't have no divine right to tell man to F off and he says it back. I like Xhaka's attitude. And I know Xhaka would tear off faces, but let's be serious, you know. Them 6 posts, they're probably just doing the internet thing, just doing it for socials, people. But at the same time, what if they are being serious? Now, I'm sure Xhaka can hold his own. But he's got a wife. He's got a young family. We live in a day and age of social media where you you see a lot about footballers and footballers' lives. But if we look at it and stuff, it's not, one day someone, I don't hope it's never happens, but a footballer could be tracked down and seriously cause problems. We live in a day and age where it's different, but fans track planes. It's different, but fans, remember Gabriel, when we didn't know if he was in England or not, and he took a picture and we found a gardening service and stuff. If you could do things like that, you can find where a man chills and cause problems. And you're going to put Xhaka in a situation where he can't win, where either he or his family unfortunately are harmed, or he harms somebody as a result of self-defense. People, Xhaka's mentioned all the time on Twitter. Again, there's nothing wrong with saying the typing the name Xhaka, so I would love to see that. Sadly, Bellerin's been on the abuse of homophobic abuse and all of these sort of things, people. So again, I don't really want to waste time. As you lot know, we do not condone racism. We do not condone homophobic abuse and the rest of it, people. So again, like you can see here, Arsenal have issued a statement. I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to tell you as to why people shouldn't be racially abused, people. It's as simple as that. Like, it's as simple as that. Really and truly. You lot are not stupid. You lot are really not stupid. Moving away from that, though, and Aubameyang, people. Now, as you lot can see here, in fact, before you lot can see here, say 10. Apologies, people. So yeah, as you lot can see here with Aubameyang, let's get rid of Xhaka. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. As you lot can see here, people, Arsenal star Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang being investigated by the club over possible coronavirus lockdown rule breach. Now, again, it doesn't look good because he's our captain for obvious reasons, because it's another headline that Arsenal do not need. And also, we're going back a bit, but there's, Lacazette, Pepe, I think Xhaka as well. I could be wrong. There's been incidences of a couple of players not listening to COVID laws and them thing there. So we'll have to see what happens. But as you lot can see here, Arsenal are investigating a possible breach of coronavirus lockdown regulations by their captain after he got a new tattoo. He was granted leave of absence recently after becoming ill and was pictured getting a tattoo on his hand, with the footage uploaded to the Instagram account of Spanish tattoo artist Brunel. Now, again, he was, if he is in Barcelona and he was granted leave, again, I do know he has family in Spain. So if it's in the same region, again, this is probably why he's doing that. Not that I am thingy making excuses for it, people. It's I don't know if he's gonna get fined. I don't know if he's gonna get banned. I just know it's an unnecessary one, and it clearly was a while ago. I'd love for them to say when it actually happened. But moving on, neither Aubameyang nor the artists were wearing masks during the session, nor did they practice social distancing. I don't know how you can social distance if somebody's doing you a tattoo, which people could say, why are you getting a tattoo in this climate in the first place, which is true. As you lot can see, people, the footage was uploaded 6 days ago on the 9th of Feb, a week after Aubameyang had returned to the club after being granted time off to visit his ill mom in France. So it's France. So I do know he has family in Spain, so he's in France for whatever reason. It's unclear whether the incident took place in the UK or during his time in France, though Brunel is Barcelona-based and a breach may not have occurred if, for example, the tattooist is part of the Arsenal strikers bubble. So he could be part of his bubble. It could have been in the UK. It could have been in France in these bubbles. So we don't necessarily know what. There's going to be a lot of speculation, people. As you lot can see here, it's just an unnecessary talking point. As you lot can imagine, Arsenal probably have their talks. There could be fines. There could be sanctions. I don't think it's going to leave and go anywhere. So you're just going to have to draw whatever conclusions you want to draw. If we type in Arsenal and see if there's anything else, people, really, there isn't anything. But then again, we could look at my guy. I'm sure he's got something. I know he must have something. Sorry, people, I wish I had someone that could do this. COVID-19 breach. And if those of you are asking why I labeled them, it's because I used to put the numbers here and forget. And then I'd have to go, when I go on Adobe Premiere Pro and cut up the videos, I'd have to literally go, oh, what are they talking about? So what was I talking about there? So it kind of helps me, people. As you lot can see, big up Chris. Let's see what he's had to say, people. Let's see what he's had to say. Big up Chris, one of the best when it comes to this Arsenal information. Big up Arshavin, because this was the day Jack Wilshere did his Mazzolini, and it was the day Arshavin did a madness. As you lot can see, I'm sure you all saw Matt Ryan is in a bit of hot water because he was talking about, I'm not gonna go over all of it, but he was talking about how he doesn't see himself. He looks, that's a bit of a slip by him here, but he said how you know, he was quite critical of Brighton and how it looks like he won't return and things like that. So let's see what's going on here first and foremost, people. Big up Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan. So yeah, let's see what happens, people. Matt Ryan responds after Brighton fans left upset by Arsenal goalkeeper's comments about leaving. Matt Ryan has apologized for his comments about leaving Brighton for Arsenal and says the club will always have a special place in his heart, people. As you lot know, the 28-year-old was dropped for the Seagulls away game to Spurs in early November. And, you know, he's struggled ever since then, really, to play. He has a contract which ends until 2022. He's on loan at Arsenal, so he might be someone that is sold permanently. And I wouldn't mind him staying at Arsenal as a backup keeper, people. Apparently, oh, wow, he said a madness, people. Let's actually go back to what he said initially. You know, I didn't even know it was that deep. Matt Ryan has recounted the moment when Graham Potter allegedly said he could leave Brighton, as well as admitting he planned to move on to a bigger club after a couple of seasons. He's only 28, and you've got your wish temporarily. Apparently, he said we were training in the evening before the Fulham midweek match. Potter pulled me into the office, and I knew that it was going that was going to be happening in terms of I wasn't going to be playing, as it was a similar pattern to what happened with the first game when I was dropped. What I didn't expect was to be told that I can basically leave if I get a good offer in January. He called me to his office and basically said he would give Sanchez an extended run, that he likes the second choice keeper in the role that he does in Jason Steele. Jason Steele was quite poor in the FA Cup, if I remember correctly. He feels like he supports the number one role very well. He said, basically, I would be out of the squad completely for the next run of games. He started thanking me for my time at the club, saying, you've been a great servant for the club. You've been professional. I can't say a bad word about you. And all this. I was sort of stunned by it. I had to stop him and clarify, Gaffer, I understand you're telling me I'm not playing for those next couple of weeks, but I can fight for my position at the club. Or are you basically showing me the door and telling me that I can leave? He basically said, knowing you and how the person you are as a person and as a footballer, you have a willingness to play in a team. I suggest that if you get a good offer in January, that you take it. So to be honest, you're not necessarily playing at Arsenal, but sitting on the bench at Arsenal, sitting on the bench at Brighton. I was a bit shocked to hear that my time at the club, to hear that at that time and how it unfolded, it sort of contradicted a couple of things he said to me previously as well after dropping me the first time. He said, I am just documenting what I was told during a January window, especially for a goalkeeper, is true. And on top of that, during a COVID period, it was never going to be easy either. And you need some luck to come your way and a right solution or fit comes along, because I wasn't exactly going to make a rash decision and try and move clubs in a desperate attempt to salvage my career. Put myself behind the 8 ball or something like that. I wanted to wait for a solid opportunity to come up, and obviously what unfolded in the next couple of weeks. And now I find myself here. I had in mind that I had a little bit of a plan in myself that I wanted to play a couple of seasons at Brighton and try and do well and hopefully be bought by a bigger club and keep progressing in my career. Perhaps it didn't work out in the way of playing 2-3 seasons and then being bought for free as number one and going and playing. But one way or another, I've ended up in a massive step up from Brighton and to another level of football, playing at the pinnacle of the game and being part of a club, of a team like this, trying to enjoy the journey and take advantage of all that's in front of me at the moment. I'm not the first player to be in a situation where you're not wanted or you're not perceived or viewed as being the best man for the job. There's a number of reasons that can happen, whether it's a good thing or an opinion of a manager. Football's a game of opinions, people. You could be the best thing since sliced bread. The manager doesn't believe such. You're not playing. Look at Ndombele. He walks into Spurs' team. Didn't play at one point. Now he does. All that matters is the man that controls the decisions makes it. So I don't think he said anything that's bad, apart from, it doesn't, you've been at Brighton for a long time. The fans ain't did anything to you. It would leave a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. Pause. If I was a Brighton fan and I heard things like this, but Matt Ryan owes you nothing in the same way you owe Matt Ryan nothing. He gave you a good couple of years. He was dropped really without a stir of thought, people. And he's gone on to keep saying it as well. He said it's very hard. He's spoken about the problems and stuff like that. He's actually, he spoke about how Potter praised him and things like that, and all of the rest of it, people. But going back to actually, since then he's apologized, as you lot could see, people, and they said they've got a special place in his heart. He says, I recognize how people could have interpreted that through the comments, and moving forward, I'll be sure to pay extra attention as to how I refer to the club to not have the same outcome. We know we live in a social media age where you will say a sentence, you will say 10 minutes praising the team. There'll be 30 seconds that sounds a bit mad. People will clip up them 30 seconds and you're gone. It's a bit irrelevant, but look at the wrap-up for those of you know about Margs. Margs, through the whole segment, he was saying he rates Afro beats and things like that. But in the 30 seconds that was clipped up, it wasn't that he was dissing it, but it sounded like he was dissing it. Fed to the wolves and everyone telling him about himself. We live in the social media of that. That's why I try and be careful what I say. What is it? Like you can see with Matt Ryan here, he said a quick little message here. Hey, mate, it's been brought to my attention. You can see it. Big up Matt Ryan because the fans ain't done nothing to you. But yeah, you can see how they were perceived negatively, sort of thing, people. You can see that. So he's apologized for that. So that's that in relation to Matt Ryan. Moving away from that, though, people. And there seems to be progress in relation to the alleged contract in David Luiz, people. Apologies. As I do up this one. What are we saying here? Should we just say? So yeah, people. In relation to David Luiz, will he, won't he? We could. That's actually one for another vid. But in relation to David Luiz, people, I don't mind him signing a new deal if he's incredibly marginalized, but I prefer he wouldn't. As you look, I'm trying to get to the main part, people. I don't want to see the jargon, really and truly. We know he's a good example for the young players. It's not told us anything new here. Apparently, Football London understands that Arsenal are planning for the summer window Arsenal's planning for the summer transfer window is already underway. Several players have uncertainties over their futures at the club. So yeah, people, it doesn't actually say nothing, people, really. It's spoken on Lacazette. We'll speak on, I promise you, probably tomorrow I'll speak on Lacazette and Balogun and all of them sort of things there. Bit disappointed it hasn't really said anything yet, but there's been no, as you lot can see here, there's been no discussions between Arsenal and David Luiz. Talks likely to reopen at the end of the season, so we need to see prolificness. So I guess the same is said for Lacazette, the same is probably said for Eddie and Nketiah and El Nene, and I think to a degree it's pretty telling that your contract there's been no talks, because you probably could and should be moved on. So we'll have to see what happens in that regards, people. So yeah, that's that. That is that, but it's been fantastic. Big up Curtis Shaw as well. I think I'm on Curtis Shaw at 2 o'clock. I need to go out and buy a charger, actually, people. We're gonna be in trouble. Let me actually tell Curtis, can he delay me for 10 minutes? Can you delay till 14? Only because people, literally, you can't even see it, people. The laptop, I don't even want to take it out, but I stepped on the cable in it, and it's like, not the ones it works, but it's broken. It's like I have to be delicate, so I need to go out and buy one really quickly, really and truly, to be completely honest with you guys, people. Let me stop sharing screen. I know you lot love the Google Doc sheets, but everything goes to an end. Please make sure you're hitting the like button as usual, people. Come on, people. 136 likes. Come on, man. Let's keep that up, man. Keep that up, man. I just spoke about that, my dude. Just spoke about that, my dudes. Just spoke about that, man. Bro, the net lets people hide, bro. The net lets people hide. That's why I don't like to do, when I see people abusing me on even my socials, I don't even get into it, because I'm like, you know what, you wouldn't say it to my face. I'm not on violence. I'm not the biggest guy, but I know you can't call me certain things. But this is your playground, innit? It's sad, but it's one of those things for me as a black man, and I can only imagine as a black player. It's a thing where if you're gonna come into an industry where you're in the public, like being a footballer or stuff, rightly or wrongly, I just have to take it in my stride. It's part and parcel, bro. Like I don't make a case of it because I get a lot of praise, but you lot should see some of the things. Oh, broski, if you lot could see some of the things, man. If you lot could see some of the things. It used to jar me because I used to sit there and be like, how can a man just draw me out for that? But it is what it is. Last question: who do you blame for the I can't say his name, but I know you're talking about the Leeds Donny. I'd say Saka. David Luiz can make a meal of it, but Saka's lost his man. Saka shouldn't be marking him, but he's been told to mark him by Arteta. Same way when it was Pepe, I was very articulate on it. I think it's Saka. He's let his man. Saka's not going to beat him in the air, but what he should do is kind of throw off my man, innit? If I jump into him, he might think, yo, this guy's going to hit my head, and that might put him off connecting with that header that led to the goal. So I'd say Saka. Not Martinelli. David Luiz, sorry, is too passive going for that ball and things like that. But yeah, big up Curtis. He's delayed it till 2:10. And then we go again, people. But that's what I would say. Shy Guy has said, Dark hearts. You don't know the dark hearts. Hit the like button. What were you doing before you committed to your channel? Working like everybody else, and I still am working. I'm working even double harder now on this YouTube channel. Like it presents a decent income, but it's all reinvested back. And, you know, obviously a little bit gets taken out to pay my bills on top of with my savings, but it is physically harder, financially harder, but I feel freer, man, really and truly. It feels, you have to work 10 times harder because you lot just see this hour and a half stream. You lot don't see the editing, the learning, the rest of it, people. There's a lot that doesn't see, and I don't want praise for that or anything like that because it's part and parcel of the game. But yeah, people, man, on that note, I'm going to get out of here. Please make sure you hit the like button. I'll be back again sooner. You know, I even forgot to run my little banner, people. Smash the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Please subscribe to me across Twitter, YouTube, and the rest of it. If you're not going to do anything, please make sure you follow me on Instagram, DeludeGuna04, and also Clubhouse, DeludeGuna04. Hit up the Clubhouse. I'm looking to do some more content on that. All links are in the descriptions, people. I'm going to be on Curtis Shaw at 2:10, so head over there. If not, I might do a little watch along to today as well. So make sure you're paying attention around Champions League times. But for now, people, DG.